I think this is the latest I've ever gotten out of my gym, 9:30. That's fine though. Living in a van provides a lot of freedom. I can come and go as I please. I'm also single. I can make my own hours. When I first got into van life a couple of years ago, it was, for me, a means to an end. A way to save up a ton of money real quickly until I buy a house or do whatever the next big thing in my life is. The funny thing is, after doing this a few years, the idea of getting an apartment or a house, buying back all the furniture that I threw away, just seems to get farther and farther and farther away. Like, it appeals to me less and less. And now that the winter is over and it's spring, this is the best time to live in a van. I love it. But yeah, I need to think, is this the end for me? Am I gonna live in a vehicle the rest of my life? Because right now, it doesn't seem like a bad idea. I don't know. I gotta think about my future a little bit. But first, I'm gonna stop at the Real Cabela's, a convenience store up here near my gym. Get myself a soda, some pretzels. I go through a bag of pretzels a day. How terrible is that? Maybe that's why I gained 6 pounds over the past 6 months. And apparently the Real Cabela's doesn't have a big bag of pretzels, only these little things. It'll have to do. Funny thing about the Real Cabela's, it's right next to the Ford in Pittsfield, a dealership that I vowed never to go to. I just wasn't getting good service there. I kept bringing my car in for the same issue, and they would just give me a runaround and not fix stuff, kick cans down the road. I'm going to a better Ford dealership now. Sorry, Johnson Ford, I'm putting you on blast on YouTube. Right across from the Real Cabela's is a lake in Pittsfield called Silver Lake in the GE campus. Believe it or not, I used to work at a building right on the edge of the lake here. I was a cameraman in my teens, believe it or not, a videographer long before YouTube. It was just something I did for 1 year for a community cable show. But yeah, maybe that's where I got the bug. Yeah, right up here on the left, there used to be an AOL Time Warner building, but it seems to be gone, so I guess that's a thing of the past. That's kind of sad. And right over here on my left is a Friendly's Diner, where I worked, I think, the summer after I was a camera operator. Yeah, I have a lot of history in Pittsfield. You can see why I keep coming back to it. But I'm not coming back to Pittsfield to relive it. I'm coming back to stare and point like I'm driving by the scene of an accident. It's a form of life that I don't relate to anymore. You know, I was a completely different person in my teens, my 20s, even my 30s. I'm the type of person that always needs to be working towards something. I'm restless. Absolutely. Every 5 years, I want to have something to show for the previous 5 years. I think that might be a benefit to van life, you know? If you're coming from a living situation where you've always lived in a house or an apartment, and you're seriously considering getting rid of everything and moving into a vehicle, like for real, you need to be a certain type of person, you know what I mean? You need to have an inner restlessness. You need to be adaptable. You need to be prepared for anything. You need to be willing to get out of your comfort zone. My original goal for van life was to save up a couple $100,000 and buy real estate. Now the goals have shifted. I no longer have that desire at all. After doing this a couple years, getting the rhythm of it, I think my new goal is to do this for the rest of my life. Honestly, I don't see that changing. I can definitely tweak things. I can move to a warmer climate. I can become more financially independent, so I'm not dependent on the Boston job. You know, there are ways I can make this easier, so I'm complaining less about van life in my videos. You know, living in a car is not a walk in the park, you know? It's not just jumping from campground to campground. Like, full-on living in your car, dealing with life, dealing with some sketchy parking lots, getting knocked, you know, your windows knocked on in the middle of the night. It can really stress you out, but I think my goal is to minimize those stresses, not just treat this like a means to an end. Right now, I'm getting to my sleeping spot for the night. I've been very fortunate to have a friend lend me his driveway for the past 3 days, and also an electrical hookup until I get my solar panels and become more energy independent. It's nice to have friends, you know. 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30. Oh, so there's gonna be a big break in continuity in this video. After I got home from that drive last night, I zonked right out. I went right to sleep. I guess I've been sleep deprived lately. So I'm starting today, this recording right where I started yesterday, at my gym. Tonight, I do not have the luxury of staying in town. I gotta do my long drive across the state. Not only is it still daylight out, but it got up close to 70 degrees today. I hope this isn't like a false tease of spring. Right now, I'm gonna hit the Real Cabela's, get a coffee and a soda before I start the long drive to Boston. Yeah, I realize this video is going the same way yesterday did, and it's very deja vu right now, but life is deja vu sometimes. Just a reminder that van life is just regular life, except I sleep in a van. All right, let's see what we got. Is this cold? Cold. Cold. Ah, hot. Right ahead, across from the Real Cabela's, you see a lake right there. That's called Silver Lake. And I used to work in a little community cable place right next to it. It's a pretty lake. It used to be hugely contaminated by GE right here. But yeah, for about 1 year, I lived at a community access cable television show. I was a videographer. You know, I operated one of the cameras. Did I talk about this yesterday? I can't remember. I have not edited that video yet. But look at this beautiful sunset. Apparently, the community access cable building that AOL Time Warner has been replaced by a solar farm. Kind of sad to see it go. I remember saying that last night. I definitely filmed this already. So, sorry about that. I'm actually going to turn around right here. I don't know why I'm even driving in this direction. I'm taking the scenic route to Boston, going up over the mountains, through the woods right now, going through a town called Worthington, where up here they have an observatory in the woods. It's very like under the radar. You'd never know about it. It's called Aruna Hill. Yeah, right up here in the middle of nowhere, up this little hill right here, this little driveway, is one of the best viewing spaces of the Milky Way and dark skies, possibly in the eastern seaboard. Except they clearly do not maintain their driveway, so no way am I taking a peek up there right now. I'm just gonna try to get to the end of this road, try to get back on pavement. This long drive also gives me a lot of time to think, something I clearly need to do. You know, spring cleaning is not just about cleaning your car out, it's about cleaning your life out, figuring out what your goals are for the year. For me, I moved into the van. It was a perfect storm of events that brought me to this. It was COVID, it was working from home, being able to work remotely so I wasn't tied to Boston so much. It was my being fed up with working for a living and having nothing to show for it, you know, in terms of investments. All of my money spent traveling just to relieve myself of the stress, and renting and having no real estate, no equity to show for decades of my life. And the fact that I turned 40 in 2020, just when that epidemic started. It all made sense moving into a van, and for the first few years, I loved it. I still love it. I'm not knocking it in any way, but I think this last winter has proven that as much as this has saved me a ton of money and shaken up my life and provided me with a lot of adventure, I don't know if I can do this I don't know if my body will let me. This winter was very hard for me. You know, when you live in a van, it's not just the fact that you're exposed to the cold a lot more than you are in the house. You know, you need need to get out of your car, whether it's just to pump gas or get groceries or move. And every time I open the door, all the heat escapes. It's cold again. I don't leave my heater running. I don't leave my thermostat on 24/7, you know, like you do in a house. Imagine if every time you came back to your house, it's freezing cold. Imagine if you're driving and suddenly you're on thin ice, literally, and skidding all around, and you don't get cell service. It can be very scary, what I'm trying to say, you know, living in a vehicle in a harsh winter environment. So maybe I just need to get the hell out of the Northeast. I don't think I can stay here another winter. It's gonna take a lot to get there, but I am not giving up on van life or anything like that. I don't know if it's still a transitional period for me or if I'm still just figuring out what I want to do for the next 5 years, the next 10 years. Anyway, I gotta make one more stop on the way to Boston, gas station up here. I gotta get gas, pretzels, and water, the 3 things I consume the most. See, look at this, $3.89 for a gallon of water. It was 89 cents at Market Basket. One thing I do like about this gas station, though, they have a full-service Dunkin' Donuts in there. I go to a lot of these gas stations. They have like an express Dunkin' Donuts with no place to sit and no bagels. I hate those places. This place is actually awesome. And right up the street here is a motel. And I used to stay at that motel when I first got my van for the first 6 months or so, maybe more, and I had to go to Boston. I did not know where to sleep in Boston. I was still very new to van life. I did not have a portfolio of safe spots. What I would do is drive to this motel, stay there, and leave there at like 4 o'clock in the morning. Drive to Boston, commute downtown. It was an even longer day than I have now. But like I said, it took me a while to find safe places to sleep. You know, in the Northeast, we don't have federal lands you can boondock on. You gotta just explore and find safe places to sleep. It's very trying for the first 6 months or so. That's how long it took me. But I have a certain nostalgia for this motel over here. Anyway, I need to hit the road. It's so late already. I gotta get up early, like 6 in the morning. Upload this video before the workday starts. So enough rambling from me. Time to hit the road. I made it to my spot in Boston. I think I'm gonna have a beautiful long day tomorrow downtown. It's my office day. Extra hour of sunlight. I think it might be in the 60s again tomorrow. As for this video, I've been thinking a lot about van life and what is next for me. There's a reason for that. That's because, well, I can't really tell you right now, but I have some things coming down the pipeline that will change my life significantly. I think I might discuss that. I might have to save that for my next video, or possibly the one after that. I'm not sure. Yeah, but thanks for sticking around for this long video. Just me rambling, deja vu. I think I repeated myself. I'm pretty sure I repeated myself, but I'm gonna leave it in there because why not? Thanks for watching. I'll catch you in the next adventure. I got that big news coming. Peace out.